So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what I'm using today. So I have two bags. My main bag has got the majority of my gear in, and then I keep this little satchel on me all day. So in my main bag, we have my A cam, which is my A7S3, usually using a 55mm on this. And with that, I put my Sennheiser shotgun mic. I'm trying to bring a lot more kind of ambient sound into my films, so I purchased this disc because it can really isolate who you're shooting in the frame. So whoever's in the frame, you can pick up on their talking and things like that, so isolates any kind of ambient music that's in the background. Stroke it. B cam is my A7 IV, and on this I've got the 24-70. My new technique now is using zooms on my B and C cam just to give me a bit more flexibility. I was using primes before, so my B cam would generally be a 24mm, and then on my C cam, which is my A7C, I used to put an 85 on this, but now 24-70 on this. Then I've got a 28-75 for my C cam, and I've also got they didn't put that on, the 70-180. So these are the two Tamron zooms, and I have also got a 35 2.8, sometimes from my wide shot. Occasionally that gets used. Other thing I've got in here is the Zoom F3. I use this if I'm taking a feed from the desks. Quite often in UK weddings we don't get access to the desk at all, but for those rare times that I do, this is the device I use. It's 32-bit float, so I can just put it in, leave it. I haven't got to worry about levels. So yeah, my setup would generally be, for ceremony, this A7 IV would be in one corner, set to wide, start off on 24 because it's unmanned. Then I'll be on the other corner shooting at the bride with my 55. Once they're in position, what I have been doing, and the reason I moved to the zooms is, I'll go around to this camera and then I'll put it tighter in the couple just so it's a bit more aesthetically pleasing shot, because that wide shot, although it's great for a safety on an unmanned camera, once they're in position and doing the vows, it's not exactly an aesthetically pleasing shot to cut back to. So I like to be able to move over and just get that in a bit tighter. Then down the back of the aisle, I'll either have the, on the A7C, I'll either have the 28-75 on it, or if I want to go a bit tighter, if I'm a bit further back, I'll use the 70-180. And this comes in really useful, this 70-180 in churches. In churches, I'll shoot from the back with a wide, like sort of 35, and then I'll shoot in tight on my second camera with this. I've got all my batteries in here. Any batteries that are fully charged, I keep a rubber band on so that I know instantly at a glance which ones are charged. In here, I have my two LEDs. Just some cheap Young Neuro LED lights, which I put up for dancing and other parts of the day. And they fit in there. And I've just got some, in here I've got some bungee cords, which I use to tie my light stands to objects to stop them getting kicked over. And some extra batteries for my LEDs in there. And then on this bag, that follows me around all day, snacks, lens cleaner. I have my 35mm, so between this and my 55, these are the two lenses that go on my A cam. Sometimes if it's a little bit tighter in a ceremony or bridal prep, that's when I put my 35mm on. My little wallet, this is my card wallet for putting my cards in. Once I've got to the point of the day, at the end of the day, before I leave, I get one set of cards out of my cameras, put them in here so they're on my person. I had a good friend who had a car accident after a wedding, and all their gear was in the boot and they nearly lost it all. So ever since then, I kind of make sure that I've got cards on me. So if anything's happened, I've got a copy in two separate places, even in the car going home as extra backup. Got my audio set up here, which I've got 6 TX650s. One of them I have like a wind cover on, but I use this is the one that gets attached to the microphone during speeches. And as this one gets held close to the mouth, it just stops people breathing into it. Stops that kind of like breath noise. I've also put little rubber clips on the end, these little rubber stoppers on the end of the TX650s, and it just gives, I found it just gives me a little bit more separation, because often I've had them they get rubbed when they're like attached to tops, so they rub on the microphone. So just those little stoppers there gives me a little extra gap to stop that rubbing from happening. Yeah, so I've got 6 of those, and quite often, to be honest, I'm using all 6, so that's like the sweet number. I've got a Tascam DR10L? Yeah, DR10L. This is a lav mic. I don't often use this, to be honest, but if sometimes it's an outdoor ceremony, it's windy, I'll use this along with some of the, I've got these kind of stickies, these Ursa stickies and wind covers. And with those, I can physically hide the mic on the groom, so it'll be hidden in his shirt. And I like to do that sometimes outdoor ceremony if I think it's going to be windy, just give you a bit, so I can get some nice clean audio from him. But having said that, since the introduction of the AI sound repair and things like Adobe Podcast and the noise reduction in the voice isolation, in Final Cut, these TX650s are just, they're perfect, and they're so easy to implement, put in place so quickly that I'm just mainly using these. I've got one of these in here as well. This is a pocket square for my TX650. So sometimes, especially if a groom's got a light coloured suit, I find a TX650 looks, just when it's like attached to a groom, it just stands out like a sore thumb. So often I'll get one of these and I'll put the TX650 in it, and then it just slides in the pocket so I can hide it out the way. So it's still, the microphone's still towards the top, but it's kind of hidden, so it's not stuck out. Like the normal way I implement them is like this. And when you're on a light coloured shirt, this clip looks horrendous. So yeah, just put the pocket square insert in there, and then clip this inside, and it stops it from sliding down. It's still kind of towards the top, so it picks up the sound, but it's hidden. So that's there in case of, because I've had situations before where grooms don't like how it looks. I mean, they've paid a lot of money for a nice suit. They don't want me then to ruin it with something that looks like a vape hanging out the pocket. So that's where that comes in handy. And in the front, I've got spare batteries. Rubber bands means charged. And in the back section here, I've got this handy device. Craig McKenna bought me this for my 40th birthday. Thank you, Craig. This is the little small rig tool, which has got all the kind of Allen keys and screwdrivers you need to tighten up tripods, which has come in super handy on a couple of occasions. Tablets, paracetamol and Imodium, which has come in useful before as well. Spare one of the, I had an occasion where I lent a camera to a friend and they took my tripod plate off my camera. I didn't put it back on, and I had to go for a wedding with missing a tripod plate. So now I always have a spare in his bag, just in case. Spare pair of scissors, falling out scissors. So often in bridal prep, they need a pair of scissors. And for me, like the most, not stressful, but kind of anxious part of the day is getting from bridal prep to ceremony and getting set up. So if there's anything that I can do to help speed things along and make things smoother for bride and bridesmaids in bridal prep, like being able to cut little tags off, or so to speed things up, then it just helps. It helps all of us really. It means that I can then be catching the footage I need and be moving ready to get set up for ceremony, and things like that you need to think of when you're a solo shooter. And Apple AirTag as well. I've got these in all my bags, because quite often I put my bag down and forget what it is. And sometimes when I'm in the car driving home as well, and I get paranoid that I haven't packed my bag, so I can just ask Siri where my bags are, and they tell me, hopefully, that they're on my person. So yes, so now we're going to the other thing as well I have, well, it's attached to me, spider holster clip, and I've got the plate on the bottom here, and so I can just attach my camera to me whenever I need to. Super, like I end up going home with this on and forgetting it's there because it's so comfortable. That just clips on quite easily. Yeah, and in terms of tripods, I have this bag. I bought this bag for, I was doing a wedding in London. I need to carry all my gear with me, And so I bought this bag to bring it all together, but I don't know how I survived without it before, to be fair. So in here, I've got 3 tripods. Generally, I only use 2, but there's been a couple of occasions where outdoor ceremonies where the ground hasn't been stable enough for Monopod, so I've used 3 tripods. So I've got a couple of cheap KF concept ones, and a Victive one. I'm loving this. This is my new favourite because even though it's super small and it can actually go smaller by folding back on itself. So for destination weddings that I've done, it's been really easy to pack away. And this is how small it can go to. But it also can go super high. At one point, I'd like to replace my other tripods for one of these, but there's no need at the minute. But this can go super high, so it's great for putting at the back of, especially during the speeches, getting a shot from the back over the top of guests. I'll just show you how high this can go. Yes, that's it, is maximum height. So that's a decent height to get a camera over the top of guests, which comes in handy. But the fact it's such a small footprint as well means it's ideal. So generally for a ceremony, I'll have a tripod at the front one opposite corner to where I'm stood, tripod at the back, and then I'll be on the Monopod, which is the iFootage Cobra Strike, I think this is, Cobra Strike 2. It's freestanding, so I can leave it and it's very secure. But the best part about it is the adjustment mechanism. You just twist this to pull it up into position and turn to lock it. And it just means you can quickly deploy it and put it to whatever height you want. And there's been a couple of occasions during speeches or when I'm in ceremony where I've needed to change it, to adjust it. I can just do it so quick, which is anything that can just speed you up, especially when you're a solo shooter, it's worth its weight in gold. So yeah, absolutely fantastic purchase that. And what I generally do, I get this bag and I leave it near to the ceremony space so it's just ready to go, along with the bigger bag as well. And on me, I'll just keep my satchel and my A-cam, and the rest will just stay in place near ceremony so I can quickly get set up.